All right, guys. Welcome to another video. This is a video based on algebraic expressions 2, and we are going to look at lesson 1. And the instruction there is for us to simplify the following expressions, starting with this one. And yeah, let's get into it. So remember what I said. I said that if you are having a situation like this whereby there's something outside the bracket and then that bracket with something inside of it, you have to take what is outside the bracket and multiply it with what is inside the bracket, right? That's step number 1. Then secondly, the application required of you here is what we call the distributive law, meaning that you are multiplying this 3 that is outside the bracket with everything that is inside the bracket. Okay, so if we have to give a solution to this problem, we'll say 3 multiplied by x, and what do we get? We get 3x, and then we go to 8 and say 3 multiplied by 8. But let's put it like this. Let's say 3 multiplied by positive 8. I'm multiplying a positive with a positive, so I should get a positive 24. And that becomes our solution. Let's go to the second problem. All right, here's our second problem. Here we have x in brackets 2x minus 4. So we have to take what is outside the bracket and multiply it with what is inside the bracket. And what we're going to basically do is say, okay, we look at the coefficients, and I said here we know there is a 1. I'm writing it now just for you to have an idea. So if we have a 1 here, what I said is that we are going to start by multiplying the coefficients of our variables, right? So what we have now is what? 1 multiplied by 2, and that gives us a 2. And then finally we go to our variables. We say x multiplied by x, and we should get x squared. So x multiplied by 2x is 2x squared. Why did we get a 2? Why did we get an x squared here? It's because if we have two bases that are the same and are multiplying each other, then their exponents will add under the same base. So here we have 1. We also have 1 here. So it's more like we are saying x to the power of 1 plus 1, which ends up giving us the x squared. So x multiplied by 2x is 2x squared. Then we move on to this now. We are saying this x multiplied by the negative 4. The answer here should then be negative 4x. I'm saying x multiplied by negative 4. I should get negative 4x. That is B. Okay, for C, we do the same thing. We know here there's a 1. Here there's a 1 as well, right? So we'll start by multiplying the coefficients. We say 5 multiplied by 1, and we get a 5. And then we say we say x multiplied by x, and we get x squared. Do you see that? Then we'll say 5x multiplied by y. What are we going to get? First of all, let's multiply the coefficients. If I'm saying 5, we know there's a 1 here, right? Next to the y. If I'm saying 5 multiplied by 1, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a positive 5. And then I'll say x multiplied by y, and I will get xy. So this means that 5x multiplied by y is 5xy. Then we move on to the last one. We say 5 multiplied by negative 3. What do we get here? We get negative 15. And because there's no x here, we'll just take this one as it is. And what this means is that 5x multiplied by negative 3 is negative 15x. Does it make sense? Okay, let's go to this fourth one, the last one for this lesson. Okay, here's the last one. We have x squared multiplied by xy minus x. What is outside the bracket has to multiply with what is inside the bracket. So we'll start with the x's. You see here, I have x squared multiplied by xy. Let me first focus on the x's. When I say x squared multiplied by x, I should get x cubed or x to the power of 3. Why is it x to the power of 3? It's because this 2 added with the one that is here, and that gives us a 3. Then this y will continue to be here because it's not being affected. So this means that x squared multiplied by xy is x cubed y. Okay, then we move on to what now? We move on to this one. We say x squared multiplied by negative x. And what does that give us? It gives us a negative x cubed. And that is our answer. Now, the moral of the story here, guys, is that what we are applying here is the distributive law. And the distributive law requires us to take what is outside the bracket and multiply it with what is inside the bracket. Okay, that's what is required of us. And this concludes this video. See you on the next one.